So I just want to start this video with a warning that there may be some details in this video that some viewers may find distressing. So a bit of a trigger warning for those who may have issues dealing with past experiences of sexual harassment. This is an issue that for me transcends partisan politics. And it really just speaks to the lack of equity for women, particularly when it comes to issues of gender equality around our right to our safety and security and being free from harassment in workplaces. So I'm going to do my best to just deliver this straight up to you. And I'm going to do that by reading this CBC article verbatim. So this story is breaking right now, and the title of the story is "Liberal Candidate Allowed to Run for Re-election Despite Past Claims of Inappropriate Behavior." All right, I'm just going to read this to you straight up. The Liberal Party has given Southwestern Ontario candidate Raj Sani the green light to seek re-election for his third term as an MP, despite a series of allegations of inappropriate behavior towards young female staffers that spanned his 6 years in office, CBC News has learned. 7 sources with knowledge of the claims described 4 different cases where Sani allegedly made unwanted sexual advances or inappropriate comments. Sani has said that he has never acted inappropriately towards staff. A former senior staffer who filed a human rights complaint against Sani last year, alleging unwelcome advances and harassing behavior, said it's upsetting the party is allowing him to campaign again under the Liberal banner in Kitchener Centre. The staffer said her experience in Sani's office contributed to her mental distress, and she eventually tried to take her own life in his office in March 2020. This is pretty devastating to me, knowing what I have gone through and that I've raised concerns over the last more than year and a half, said the former senior staffer. It's disturbing to me. It's also concerning to me that it could continue to happen to other people. Liberal leader Justin Trudeau has maintained that he has a zero tolerance policy when it comes to harassment in the workplace, and that he has led a feminist government. But his party has also allowed MP Marwan Tabbara to run in the 2019 federal election despite a party investigation into allegations of sexual harassment made against him in the previous mandate. Tabbara later left caucus after police charged him with break-and-enter, assault, and criminal harassment in an unrelated case last year. Tabbara's next court appearance is scheduled for tomorrow. The complaints against Sani date back to the Liberals' holiday party in December 2015, when more than 2,000 people attended, including Liberal MPs, staff, and supporters at the Shaw Convention Centre in downtown Ottawa. CBC News agreed to not name the sources with direct knowledge of the allegations because they weren't authorized to speak publicly about the matter or were concerned about career. It goes on to say, that information was shared with a senior member of government who brought the concerns to the Prime Minister's office and Justin Trudeau's Chief of Staff, Katie Telford, sources both said. Both Tabbara and Sani remained in caucus. The Liberal Party told CBC News in a statement, it has no record or knowledge of the matter. Tabbara's office declined to comment. According to multiple sources, Sani later followed another junior Liberal staffer around at several functions and asked for her phone number. In a third case, a female employee felt so uneasy with Sani calling her to his Ottawa office late at night, sometimes in cases around 10 p.m., she brought an employee with her from another MP's office so she wasn't alone with him, according to another source. The Liberal Party also said that it had no knowledge of this matter. I encourage you to read this article. And I'm just going to say this, I'm sick of this. I am sick of this. You know, every party has had issues with this, but at every point in time where I have been able, this can't continue. Like, what happens when people are silent on these issues, when they know about this stuff that's happening, is that women don't feel like they can come forward. So it's swept under the rug, and then this culture of misconduct continues, right? Because silence covers up the sins of powerful men. The case with Marwan Tabara has been well laid out in the Canadian media. Apparently, allegedly, the Liberal Party knew about allegations against him, and they still allowed him to run in the election in 2019, and now he's facing charges in court. This story here outlines a series of allegations that are pretty serious against somebody who's currently running for office. So where does it end? Like, where is there a line? There has to be a line drawn, right? And I'll just say this, like, if the women who are in this story end up watching this, across political stripe, this is not acceptable. This is something that everybody needs to be fighting for. And if you are a Liberal candidate, right now, you should be calling your war room. You should be phoning up your food chain and saying, how is this happening? Why is this happening? And you shouldn't be silent. Because the only way this stuff stops is when we are not silent on it, and we don't reward silence, and we don't allow people who have allegations against them, particularly in a case like this where there's such a history of reports, for it to be swept under the rug. Now look, these are tough issues to address, but they shouldn't be. And I guess for me, watching this unfold is that there's a pattern here, right? I mean, there's a pattern with the Liberal Party on this. What bothers me the most is that they dine out on, as the CBC article says, oh, we have a zero tolerance policy, or oh, we're a feminist government. Well, they don't get to, that's what hypocrisy looks like. And put partisan politics away for a second. There's a human cost to this, and that's that women do not feel safe, and that it sends a message to any women who reads this article who may have experienced or be experiencing something like this, and it says there won't be justice, or that you won't be taken seriously. And in turn, what that does is it emboldens other men to do the same thing. And this cycle will never end. It will never end as long as crap like this is allowed to continue. So if you're watching this, if this was you in here, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. And if you're a Liberal candidate, I want you to think about these women too, and I want you to speak up. Because this has to be a cross-partisan thing. Look, I have gotten up in the House of Commons before, and I have called my own party out. Because this is important to me. This is important to me. This is an issue that I know if silence is allowed to continue, if silence is rewarded and silence is allowed to cover up the sin of powerful men, we will not see change on this. And I am tired of seeing this from Justin Trudeau over and over and over again. This is not the first time. Don't even get me started on the whole culture of issues within the Canadian Armed Forces and the relationship up through the PMO in the last year. Don't even get me started on that. But here we are in the middle of a situation with this breaking news where they have to say something. I think what disturbs me the most out of all of this is that it says right in the news story that allegedly that the senior staff were told. What did they do about it? Why is this just coming out? Like, why wasn't this addressed? And again, unless there is action taken, this is a culture that perpetuates more of this garbage. You know, in my time in office, I have watched this. Like, I've seen story after story after story after story. Why am I still talking about this, right? And it's because of what is laid out in this article, right? the one line in there that you should key on is that women feared for their careers. Why aren't these guys fearing for their careers? Why is it the women fearing for their careers, right? This is my official comment on this issue. There is a human cost to a culture of cover-up of misconduct. When silence is allowed to cover the sins of powerful men, women suffer. Justin Trudeau's past actions show that he will not act on allegations of sexual misconduct in both the Liberal Party of Canada and the federal government. He has a pattern of covering up or looking the other way on these kinds of allegations. To the women in this story, rest assured, we will fight for better. And the we that I'm referring to, I hope it's not just put in a political context. I hope it's everyone watching this video. And I hope it is every Liberal candidate that is running for office, because these women do deserve better, and every Canadian woman deserves better than what is outlined in this story. Working hard for you in Calgary. Have a great day.